That acoustic guitar solo was... Greetings Wanderer, this is Atlas here and welcome to The Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called Licht Und Schatten from the Tokyo Ghoul original soundtrack. If I remember correctly from my scarce Duolingo German lessons, Licht means light. Und means and Schatten, I don't really know what that means, but apparently it's light and something else, okay? I'm not familiar with this original soundtrack at all, but this is the final coffee personal request that I had in my schedule, and this is from God's Berserk. Look at that. The comment says, "How are you doing, Atlas of the Void? I would like you to react to Tokyo Ghoul Licht Und Schatten Yutaka Yamada original soundtrack, which is an anime OST that has reached heights of 35 million views on YouTube. It is a beloved soundtrack by a legendary composer and the theme to the main character, Ken Kaneki, who lives in a world of ghouls and chaos. His life changes when he becomes a ghoul himself, and he struggles finding his way between the world of ghouls and humans. Who's right and wrong? Which side's really good and evil? His quest is a dark journey, and his theme may shed light on the dark path." Well, thank you very much, God's Berserk, for your request, and of course, your incredible support. Quite the storytelling that you have going on in that comment. All right. Okay, so well, I'm looking forward to this. Like I said before, I've never covered this original soundtrack before. I've heard the name of Tokyo Ghoul before as a pop culture, name out there, but I am basically 100% oblivious to what this is about, okay? Other than the context that God's Berserk offered us in the comment. So, onward. Okay, we have Licht und Schatten, light and something else, I don't know. Boom! I really like the incremental style, the layering incremental style of a song. Space created. The kick drum sample sounds really good. It's building up. That acoustic guitar solo was... It ends with a bunch of cymbals on the bass. Alright, there we have it. Yeah. You know what? I really like tracks that have like a balance in between the synthetic elements and the organic elements, because of course this track is, for the most part, is an electronic track, but it has a string section, you know, that is very organic, or at least it sounds very organic to me. And that creates sort of a balance in between the synthetic elements and the organic elements that could potentially play a role in the premise of the anime, because Guts Berserk said that this person turns into a ghoul, right? So maybe he's trying to talk about his human side versus his ghoul side, but I'm just going to stop right there, because otherwise I'm just going to start doing the breakdown here. But we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the guitar acoustic solo there, which was my favorite part also, and also you know how the track is really balanced, in my opinion, in terms of which part of the spectrum each instrument occupies and how it's really balanced, okay? So, let's break it down. Okay, so let's start this breakdown by talking a little bit about maybe the overall qualities that this song has, but also, you know, elaborate from that premise and talk about more specific things in the track itself, okay? So, I think that the track has, like, the whole track has this bittersweetness to it. And I think this could be very much attributed to the way the chord progression tells the story of the track, but also I think this track it's probably written in a minor key or something, because not that I'm an expert or whatsoever on this matter, but you know, all these tracks that sound sad or sound bittersweet, which is as less aggravating, I would say, in that key, or sounds as really sinister and dark, it's all in minor keys. When you hear something in a major key, it sounds hopeful and happy. You know, it has a completely different feeling and tone when the songs are written in a major key, but when it's a minor key, it has the less dark feeling that you will get, or you know, sentiment that you will get from it is like the bittersweetness of it. And this track actually accomplishes that. You know, it has darkness, but it also has hope in it, and that is very much imbued in the chord progression that is along the track, I would say. I also did mention that the song has like this balancing between the synthetic elements and the organic elements. To me, the synthetic elements will be the synthesizers, of course, and the drum samples, because we can hear that the drums are not necessarily you know, played by a drummer. They are drum samples, basically, either sampled in a keyboard or you know, just they went right into the composition in the DAW of the composer. But previously I did say that I thought that the track was leaning more towards the synthetic elements than the organic elements, which would be like the string section that we hear in the track. Maybe the acoustic guitar would be also in there. Although it sounds a little bit synthetic, the acoustic guitar. But I would say that, yeah, maybe we could include the acoustic guitar in the organic section of the as an instrument, I would say. It actually the balance is more than is there more than I thought it was, because I heard the track one more time before starting this section, and I could hear that the organic elements are way more involved than I thought they were in the first listen. So it's even more balanced that I thought it would be with the first listen. Because, for example, I'm gonna leave that example for another part that I'm going to be explaining. But I think that continuing with the premise I was talking about, the tale of this character, right, in the anime, Guts Berserk said that he became, like, he was a human being and became a ghoul, right? So, well, how exactly the song translates this, right? And also the song, it's called Licht Und Schatten, which I don't know what that means, but it's talking maybe about like a contrast in between worlds, right? And Guts Berserk is talking about two worlds: the world about where you were a human, and the world where you are a ghoul. And maybe the track is trying to convey the same thing, right? Certainly, it's kind of counterintuitive to think about the life of a ghoul being translated by synthetic instruments. In this case, the synthesizers, because I suppose the general understanding of people when they listen to synthesizer or something, an instrument that is very synthetic, it will be of thinking like space or robots or you know, a factory or something like that, you know, something inanimate or something that doesn't have any human qualities. But a ghoul is well, I suppose it could be like a very deteriorated human or basically an undead person. So how that translates, how those synthetic elements translates into the storytelling of the anime? Well, if you think about it, and all these movies in the 80s also, if we're going to take references about pop culture, is that you know, these corpses are reanimated sometimes, right? Or they are being converted, in this case, from human to ghouls. So in a kind of essence, there is kind of a synthetic underlying there, because you're not human anymore. So if you're not human anymore, you are of a different nature. And maybe you could call it something else, because synthetic does get in the way of understanding my point, I guess. But what I'm trying to say is that the organic elements of the track, which will be the string section very specifically, is trying to speak about the humanity of the character, you know, in this very beautiful, lush passages that have passages in the strings that have a lot of legato in it. So it sounds really soothing and really blissful, let's say. Which to me, they spoke about the human side of this character, and the synthetic elements, which are the most, the ones that have the most attack and are the most aggressive, especially in the second stage or the second part of the song, speak about the ghoulish nature of this character. Okay. Now, a couple of things that I would like to mention to finalize my commentary about this track is that this track also has two very specific parts where it creates a lot of space. And I have talked about this before in many breakdowns that I've done before, in which, you know, when you create space, you create, you either release the tension or you are building the tension towards something else. Okay, so certainly in this track, let's say for the first half, it has one space created, and for the second part, it also has another space created. And what they do is they actually release the tension from the previous part, but also start building the tension for the part that's following next. And something that it's very interesting about these two parts is that the first space, it's very minimalistic. It's very tamed in the sense that you only hear a part of the drums and this stepped synthesizer. And a stepped synthesizer means that basically you add a stepper into the synthesizer, which kind of segmentates the sound of the synthesizer. So it sounds like in little bursts of sound, let's say. That's it. That is really cool, and we also hear that in the intro of the track, and that creates or keeps the rhythmic or maintains a rhythmic anchor into the track, because from the previous part, not only we have, of course, the rhythm that is established by the foundation of the track, which is the drums, but also from the very inconspicuous acoustic guitar that we hear in the really back of the mix. But then what's interesting is that in the second part, the space is created, that changes completely, because now it's not the synthetic part that we hear, but it's the organic parts, and it's the strings that are taking a presence in that space. So you can hear how incredibly balanced in terms of the presence and and how that those elements tell the story of this character or the track itself. Because the composer is actually making these meticulous, very on purpose differences in between. Okay, I'm going to create this space here, but here this is going to be like the layer of synthetic element here. But on the second part, where I'm going to create the space, I'm just going to use the string section to even out those two parts, right? And I thought that was a brilliant arrangement, in my opinion. I mean, it's so incredibly balanced in terms of the elements that are synthetic and organic, that you can hear that in the first half of the song you have a very prominent presence of the string section, but on the second half you have more synthetic piercing elements in the track, because there's a lot of sparkly synthesizer here and there, you know, to embellish the track. But I would say what's most impactful in the difference in between those two is the presence of the bass synth of the bass synth in the second part, which is really big. It almost takes like the whole space of a track. And also I think it has a little bit of saturation, of distortion in it, so it makes it more like mean, you know, inside the track itself. So that's another thing that fundamentally makes a huge difference in between the first half of a song from the second part of a song. So yeah, I think this was a fantastic track. The balance in between the synthetic elements and organic elements, to me, it's like incredible. I don't really have anything else to add in that regard. It's really good, and I would say that would be my favorite part, in addition to the acoustic guitar solo. It was a fantastic acoustic guitar solo, which also had like some pentatonic bluesy second section, which was incredible. Okay. So I think I'm gonna give this track a golden badge. It was a really good track. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon in case you want to sway the vote towards what I'm going to be breaking down next. Also, my Ko-fi profile in case you want to make a one-time contribution to the channel, or my Ko-fi store in case you want to make your own personal request like this one. And also my Teespring shop where you can get merch and all that jazz. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.